In this tutorial video, we're going to cover registration so that you can have access to the NTEU Chapter Forums website. So I'm going to pull up the browser. You can choose whatever browser you want. This is just Google Chrome. And we're going to go pretty quickly through this, but the miracle of a video is that you can pause it, you can stop it, you can rewind it, and go back through it as many times as you need. So, for step one, we're going to navigate to www.nteu chapter forums.org. That's www.nteu chapterforums.org. As you can see, it takes you to the home page. Very simple homepage. NTEU Chapter Forums, a place to ask questions and get answers. You'll note that there's one forum that's available to anyone who happens to just be visiting the board. And if you click on it, you'll notice first that it's locked. Locked just means that you can't add any new posts with new information. You can't ask questions or respond in this forum. And basically, if you click on the topic heading, it'll take you to the post itself, and it just informs anyone who's curious that this is a forum for website for NTEU chapter leaders. And you'll need to register for access to secure forum topics and discussions. Bottom line is that we want to be able to have an open dialogue, searchable dialogue, which is one of the other major advantages to having a forum website like this. It's accessible to only those people who should have access to it, our NTEU chapter leaders, and other people won't have access to it. So let's get to registration. So up here, on any one of these screens, you'll see a login link and a register link. And even if we go back to that first page, this home page, you'll see that it's essentially in the same spot. Up here, login or register. If you're already registered, you'll see the login information down here. You can put in your username and password and then click login. But presumably, if you're just starting out and want to get access to these forums and participate in the discussion, then you're going to need to register first. So let's click on register, and it will give you the basic registration terms. Bottom line is that you agree to be respectful. You're not going to post anything abusive, obscene, vulgar, or slanderous, blah, 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 blah. So if you agree to these terms, you click on this button, I agree to these terms. Now it's going to ask you for some basic information. What username do you want to be known by? My recommendation, and you can do whatever you want. I didn't set it up to where you'd have to have a specific type of username, but I recommend just doing a first name dot middle name dot last name. So in this case, we're just going to use Jane Doe, and the email address that you want to register with. And this is part of the registration process, is we'll send an email to confirm that it is a live email address, essentially that you exist. And then we'll get to that after we finish this basic information. One of the final steps in registration is checking your email to get a special confirmation code or a link that you click on in that email, and it verifies that it's an active email address. You can use your agency email address. I prefer to use my personal email address. I have an app on my personal phone that will let me know of any activities that are going on the board, and we'll get into that later after the registration is done. But suffice it to say that when you post things, you can set an option so that if there are any replies to a topic that you post, or you set a reply and somebody else adds to your reply or replies to your reply, you can set it to where it will send you an email notice that says, hey, somebody's replied, and then you know that something's happened on the board and you can check back in. This board is actually really neat that way. So I'm going to pick an email address, and I'm going to select my password. So whatever password you want to put in there are no complexity requirements, because frankly, we're all adults, and we don't need the computer to tell us how we should, how complex our passwords need to be. So use whatever password you want to. Try to make it, something that easy for you to remember and hard for other people to guess. That's the basic standard recommendation for passwords. And if it happens to be a password that you commonly use, it's probably not the best to do that securely, but if you haven't had any problems with people breaking into your accounts and guessing your passwords, then I guess a standard password you use is probably something that's going to be just fine. So it'll ask you to confirm the password to make sure you typed it right the first time. Keep it on British English. One of the settings, British English is basically just American English. For the most part, for the purposes of this board, it'll replace certain Z's with C or with S's and whatever. But I mean, if you understand basic English, you should be able to understand what's going on this board. There isn't any significant differences. My recommendation is to pick your time zone on this My Time Zone. In my case, it's we're in the same time zone as Denver, so if I select this, then it will make sure that it's universal time code -6 hours, and that's my time zone. Then, to prevent automated registrations down here, it asks that you enter a code so that you verify that you're an actual person and not some online robot that does web crawling. So if you can't read what is in the graphic down here, then you can always click on refresh confirmation code, and it'll give you a different one. And you can try entering that one. So in this case, we'll see if it looks like 5DN6, and then hit submit. There we go. All right, so your account's been created, it says. However, the board requires account activation. Activation key was sent to the email address you provided. Please check your email for further information. And also be sure to check your junk mailbox. Sometimes these things get sent, and your spam filters or whatever will think it comes from some sort of spam mailbox, and it will send emails like this sometimes to the junk mailbox. So if you can't find it in your inbox, check your junk mailbox. It may take a while to get the email depending on your email provider. So I click this to return to the index page. Well, now I'm going to wait for my password to show up, so we'll wait a few minutes. Okay, so I've logged into my email account. It looks like the email has shown up. And it says, welcome to NTEU Chapter Forums. Please keep this email for your records. Your account information is as below. Username Jane Doe. And there's the homepage address. And it says, please visit the following link in order to activate your account. So basically, you click this link, and it tells you that your account's now been activated. Thank you for registering. And then takes you back to the homepage pretty quickly. So now you can log in. It was a pretty quick process. Let's see if we are in fact now registered. So I'm in the login. Username is the one I selected with the password I selected. And there we go.